General Alfredo Manapat Santos was Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines in 1962 to 1965, making him the first four-star general of the Philippines Armed Forces. Engineer turned soldier, General Alfredo M. Santos is one of the most notable freedom fighters of the Philippines with a heroic war record. His outstanding achievements proved his selfless dedication to the service of his country and people, thereby bringing distinct honor to the armed forces of the Philippines. He is well known for his physical and moral courage and keen sense of fairness, justice, honesty and integrity. He spearheaded programs for reserved officers and integrees to gain merits and recognition in the military service. Early life. Alfredo M. Santos was born in Santa Cruz, Manila, Philippines on July 13, 1905 to Fructuoso L. Santos and Agatona J. Manapat, and was seventh among 14 children. His secondary education was acquired in Manila North High School. He graduated at Mapua Institute of Technology with a degree in Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering in 1931. On the same year, he passed the board examination. He showed interest in the military when he graduated on the top of his ROTC class at the University of the Philippines as a cadet colonel and corps commander in 1929. He continued this interest after schooling. Military career. The hero of the pockets. General Santos' military career started when he was appointed probationary third lieutenant on June 8, 1936. After 5 years of civil engineering practice, he entered the Reserve Officer Service School at Camp Henry T. Allen in Baguio City, where he was made the battalion commander. He graduated at the top of his class, and 20 years after, he was honored as its most distinguished alumnus. Then Captain Santos was the most decorated unit commander of the 1st Regular Division in the memorable Bataan campaign, even dubbed by commanding general Brigadier General Fidel V. Segundo as the hammer of the division, when he brilliantly outmaneuvered and outsmarted the enemy during their attempt to pocket their area. In both attempts, his unit successfully broke through the Go-Go Quota into all pockets, thus earning for himself the moniker Hero of the Pockets. For his heroic feat in battle, he was promoted to Major in the field. 2 days after, he was decorated with the United States Army's Distinguished Service Cross for extraordinary heroism in combat in Bataan, and the Silver Star for gallantry in action. Later, the Philippine government awarded him the equivalent Distinguished Conduct Star and Gold Cross for the same combat action. During World War II, on January 25, 1942, a superior Japanese army force launched an attack southward from a general line along Pilabagak Road. The attack swept the outpost line in resistance, and penetrated the main line of resistance of the 1st Regular Division on the Go-Go Quota River area, Bataan, creating a 500-yard gap through which the enemy rushed. For 4 days, hundreds of Japanese troops tried to break through lines. Santos was given the hazardous mission of closing the gaps and annihilating the enemy troops who had infiltrated the lines, as the gap posed a serious threat to the positions and the security of the division. He led a counter-attack against the strong and numerically superior Japanese forces positioned between the MLR and the regimental reserve line. The fighting began at dawn of January 29, 1942. With dogged determination, the defenders fought assiduously and without pause against all odds to restore the defensive sector assigned to the 1st Regular Division. Major Santos was ordered to surrender his unit to the Imperial Japanese forces, which he reluctantly did on April 12, 1942. He became a prisoner of war and was one of the captives in the Death March to Camp O'Donnell at Capiz, Tarlac. He was released from the concentration liberation camp on August 10, 1942. During the Japanese occupation from December 1942 to January 1945, he joined the Filipino-American Irregular Troops under Col. Huey Strawn as chief of the Intelligence Division of the North Section in Manila, with the rank of colonel. He fought with the American and Filipino soldiers in the liberation of Manila from February to March 1945. He returned to military control at the end of the liberation campaign that year and was assigned at Camp Murphy as camp inspector of the 2nd Camp Complement. Later, he held other positions, including executive officer and S3 of the 1st Camp Complement, acting district commander at Camp Olives, San Fernando, Pampanga, commanding officer of the 4th MP Battalion, Mandaluyong, Rizal in April 1946, and executive officer of the Presidential Guard Battalion in Malacanan Palace, Manila. Military career after the war, when Congressman Datu Mangalan and Senator Salapado Pendatun offered him the provincial governorship of Cotabato in 1951. Through then Secretary of National Defense Ramon Magsaysay, he declined. It was a personal decision which was very difficult to make. At the time, the position was appointive rather than elective. The province of Cotabato then was in turmoil. Violent clashes occurred, resulting in the death of many political followers of contending parties, but he contended that the problem was essentially political in nature, and that he had charted his course for a military career. His negative reply was honored. Major Santos knew what he wanted in his career, and to him a diversion like that of the appointive offer would adversely affect his plan to attain the highest position in the military hierarchy. Santos and the Huck subsequently. Lieutenant Colonel Santos was given command of the Panay Task Force, composed of the 15th Battalion Combat Team with some elements of the 9th BCT and the PC commands of Iloilo, Capiz and Antique. Reporting to his new command on March 1, 1951, he once more showed his incontestable ability and grit in military tactics. As proof of this, he earned the distinction of having accounted for the fall of two of the highest-ranking dissidents at the height of the Huck campaign. This position gave him the opportunity to put his military prowess in full play. He made history when Guillermo Cappadocia, erstwhile Secretary General and one of the founders of the Communist Party of the Philippines, was captured at Barrio Ubog in San Remigio, Antique. During the hectic campaign to capture Cappadocia and destroy the leftist band in 1951 and 1952 on Panay Island, Major Santos made one crucial decision which ensured the success of the operations. He organized a civilian commando unit headed by Pedro Valentin, a mountain leader who knew the people and the terrain very well. Part of his command decision was the designation of the civilian commando unit as the attacking force, while elements of the 15th BCT served as the holding or covering forces. Had it been otherwise, the wily Cappadocia would have had the government forces running around its circles as they were handicapped in the rough terrain. Cappadocia's death was the consummation of Major Santos' bold plan. The incessant military operations aimed primarily at the capture, whether dead or alive, of dissident leaders resulted in the surrender of hundreds of the men. In addition, the capture of the rebels' arms, supplies and equipment as well as important documents which were of great value to the entire campaign for peace and order throughout the country, was crucial in breaking up the backbone of the dissidents' depredations in Visayas and Mindanao. A crucial campaign, a smart decision and sweet victory in the crucial campaign to capture Huck leader Mariano P. Balgos and destroy his group in the Bicol region. Colonel Santos made a decision to pull out all army troops from the provinces of Sorsogon, Camarines Norte and Camarines Sur after an on-the-spot study and estimate of the situation in the field. Operations then then concentrated in the Manitou area where the Huk leader was reportedly holed up. It was a risky decision as it left those other areas at the mercy of Balgos and his marauders, headed by the murderous commander, Tagle. But the weather proved to be an unexpected ally in Colonel Santos' operation. A strong typhoon that was raging at the time, and the possibility that Balgos could have slipped out due to the thinness of the cordon surrounding him was very evident. Balgos loved sardines. The sardine manufacturer cooperated in putting botulism in the sardines distributed in the stores surrounding his hideout. Under cover of the typhoon, a scout ranger team positioned itself at the latrine area of his camp and caught him in the sights, literally with his pants down. Refusing to surrender, he jumped with both pistols drawn. His death compensated for the great risk taken. It virtually broke the expansion phase of the HMB and CPP in the Bicol region. Colonel Santos' deep understanding and full knowledge of the nature of the dissident underground movement enabled him to effect the intelligent deployment of his troops as well as secure the cooperation and support of the civilian population and weakening the Huk organization. 6 days after his second achievement, Colonel Santos was appointed ad interim brigadier general by President Ramon Magsaysay, a well-deserved appointment which was confirmed by the Commission of Appointments on May 4, 1955. His successful effort in the Huk campaign spread abroad and inspired other military leaders in Southeast Asia who were locked in similar fierce battle aimed at stopping the spread of communism in their own similar countries. As a result, he was awarded Philippine Legion of Honor and later another Legion of Honor from the United States government. Position in the SEATO. In 1956, he was assigned back to Camp Murphy as chief of the War Plans Division. Santos later was nominated and subsequently installed as the first chief of SEATO Military Planning Office with headquarters in Bangkok, Thailand in March 1, 1957. Army Career Management Program. On August 1, 1960, he was designated Commanding General of the Philippine Army. Upon assumption of position, Santos pursued a career management program for officers, reassigning them in accordance with the career profile. A stickler for professional excellence, he instituted rigid training for troops and required appropriate compulsory schooling of officers who were in need of it. Through his conscientious and indefatigable efforts, he efficiently carried out the broad policies and vital mission of the PA, particularly the build-up and training of the citizen army and the implementation of the socio-economic military program of the AFP. He was deeply concerned with the welfare of his men and endeavored to improve the living conditions of the enlisted personnel and the families, raising the morale and improving discipline in the command. To better prepare military personnel for civilian life, he pursued non-military projects that could provide opportunities to soldiers and reservists, especially upon the retirement or separation from the service, in the form of practical lessons and training in livestock raising. On the matters of promotion and assignment of officers and men under his command, Major Santos emphasized the merit system for the sake of morale and discipline. His firm, mature and unyielding decisions on administrative matters, which were tempered with and founded upon justice and human understanding, contributed to a large extent to the effective synchronization of the various PA staffs and efficient functioning of the entire command. After having served for more than 2 years as Commanding General of the Philippine Army, he was appointed by President Diosdado Macapagal as Chief of Staff of the AFP on September 1, 1962, thus becoming the first military man from the ranks of the ROTC and Citizen Army to be named to the highest military post. With his ascendance to this top position, he also set precedent of being the first one-star general to be elevated directly to a 3-star rank, that of Lieutenant General. Election to the Allied Officers Hall of Fame. The latest honor bestowed upon General Santos was his election into the Allied Officers Hall of Fame at the United States Army Command and General Staff at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, USA. He received the Certificate of Honor from U.S. Ambassador Henry A. Byroad in simple ceremonies held at the U.S. Embassy, Roxas Boulevard, Manila on April 14, 1973. Awards and decorations: Distinguished Conduct Star, Distinguished Service Star, Gold Cross Medal, Philippine Legion of Honor, Legion of Merit, Presidential Unit Citation Badge, Long Service Medal, Anti-Dissidence Campaign Medal, Asia-Pacific Theater Campaign Medal, Philippine Independence Medal, Philippine Defense Medal, Philippine Liberation Medal, Combat Infantryman Badge, Distinguished Service Cross, Silver Star, American Defense Medal, World War II Victory Medal, Distinguished Unit Badge, the Most Noble Order of the Crown of Thailand, Order of the Cloud and Banner, Order of Military Merit, SEATO Service Badge, National Order of Vietnam Kim Cang Medal, Milestones, Corps Commander, Manila North High School Cadet Corps 1924 1925. Corps Commander, University of the Philippines ROTC 1928 1929, and Honor Graduate ROTC Advanced Course. Honor Graduate and Top-Notcher, 1st Reserve Officers Service School, Camp Henry T. Allen, Baguio 1936, Most Outstanding Graduate 1956. First Chief SEATO Military Planning Office, Bangkok, Thailand 1957 1958. First ROTC graduate to become Commanding General of the Philippine Army 1960 to 1962. First ROTC graduate to become Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. First Filipino 4-star General 1963. First Filipino General with the degree of Doctor of Laws 1965. First Filipino General to address the Imperial Defence College in London, England 1965. During the Bataan Campaign, he was dubbed Hammer of the 1st Regular Division when Gen. Santos brilliantly outmaneuvered the Japanese in their attempt to outflank and envelop the division. Also during the Bataan Campaign, twice the Japanese Imperial forces attempted to pocket the 1st Regular Division and twice Gen. Santos' unit broke through and destroyed these pockets, thus earning himself the honor Hero of the Pockets. Participated in the infamous Death March, and was concentrated in the Capiz, Tarlac prisoners of war concentration camp. Gen. Santos has the distinct honor of having accounted for 2 original organizers of the Communist Party of the Philippines and regional Huck Field commanders in the capture and death of Guillermo Capadocia in 1951 and Mariano P. Balgos in 1954, both former Secretary General of the Communist Party, and the capture of Dr. Jesus Lava in 1964, head Politburo and Chairman, Communist Party of the Philippines, selected by the Military Historical Division AFP in December 1951 as one of the 22 outstanding soldier in Philippine history, inducted by U.S. Army Command and General Staff College, Fort Leavenworth, in the Allied Officer Hall of Fame for outstanding military achievements as Chief of Staff, AFP.